Recognized by ACHPER as a unique and essential learning area with the purpose of providing ongoing, developmental appropriate and explicit learning about health and movement, HPE is an entitlement for all young people in Australian schools. So why HPE is important? First of all, HPE is distinguished from physical activity or sports or a health profession. HPE is focused on educative purposes, which do not only support students to make informed decisions about their health and well-being, but also work as a bonding agent to prioritize a foundation of disciplinary knowledge, skills, and understanding that can be applied across ever-changing contemporary health and movement contexts. And second, moving away from solving some health problems, HPE take account of the range of students' current abilities and strengths and accommodate diversity by providing multiple means of teaching knowledge and skills. Students learn to be health literate in and through HPE to access information from a range of sources, services, and organizations to validate and respond to it and to question current knowledge. And third, HPE is the only learning area in the school curriculum that focuses explicitly on developing movement skills and concepts. It encourages a habit of physical activity and develops an appreciation of the importance of movement in daily life. HPE is not only working functionally to develop students' physical competence in a range of movement forms, but also a medium for developing interpersonal and collaborative skills, good communication and decision-making skills, and positive team behaviors and strategies to cope with individual challenges. And last but not least, HPE is not only educationally important in school years, but it is an opportunity and a medium to educate the family and even the whole society through the education to young people. When selecting resources to teach health education, including any spoken, written, or visual text or activity, there are some key considerations. First of all, per DET's resource selection guidelines, similar to teaching other learning areas, expected learning outcomes and standards described in official curriculum should always be considered when selecting resources to teach health education. Highly relevant topic and age-appropriate content is essential. Also, some ready-to-use resources may not fully cover the teaching intention or suit my students' particular learning needs. Therefore, the adaptation or customization of the resources is also important, especially when adopting resources from websites. Also, considering the crowded curriculum and the marginalization of health education in some schools, selecting resources which can link to literacy or numeracy domains may help us seize more opportunity to teach health education with the connection or linkage to main subject topics. And second, considering the sensitivity of some focus areas of the health education, such as drugs or sexuality, we need to carefully choose resources to avoid exposing my students to highly offensive materials or themes. In the meantime, some resources may also have controversial nature considering the students' diverse socio-cultural background. So, the teacher or the school should inform the relevant students and their parents and prepare alternative resources for them. And we need to make sure that the students being given alternative materials or activities are not isolated from other classmates. And third, even though there may not be exact right or wrong criteria when teaching health education, we still need to consider the level of scientific authenticity of some resources. For example, some breaking news may be very relevant to our learning topic, but it may also lack scientific ground and therefore confuse our students. So overall, resources are just our tools to teach health education. We as teachers should always maintain the planned teaching intention and take the major responsibility to direct the teaching and make use of the resources effectively. According to the Brown article, the Arnoldian dimensions of education in, about, and through movement has been translated into the key ideas of the HPE curriculum and represented as moving our body, understanding movement, and learning through movement. Brown has pointed out that this translation is potentially misleading, and based on my own understanding of the Arnoldian dimensions and the official HPE curriculum, I interpret students learning in, about, and through movement as following. First, students acquire and refine a broad range of movement skills in the movement. Students actualize their physical dimension in the practice of motor skills and become more aware of how to use their body parts to respond to stimuli and participate in physical activities or minor games. For example, students perform locomotor or manipulative skills in any direction, such as running or throwing and catching objects. They also include responding with movement to rhythm, beat, or music. Students become more aware of themselves and the world in this process. And second, learning about movement focus more on the knowledge underpinning movement. It is about how and why we move and how we can improve physical performance. For example, students develop knowledge of how physical activity keeps us healthy and identify how our body moves in relation to effort, space, time, and object. Students also learn to identify and describe their feeling after participating in physical activities and understand some underpinning subdisciplinary knowledge, such as physiology, sociology, and biomechanics. And third, movement is also a medium through which a broad range of outcomes may occur, such as cognitive development, personal and social skills. For example, through a trial and error process of teamwork in movement lessons, students have the opportunity to develop their abilities to decision-making and communicating effectively and efficiently with their group members, and develop their personal resilience when facing individual challenges and even applying some basic rules. So overall, we should consider the breadth and depth of movement experiences as an aim of HPE in order to facilitate students to learn in, about, and through movement, rather than providing a smattering of experiences. When my partner and I were planning for the HPE, we developed the proficiency in Standard 2.2 of the graduate APSTs, which is content selection and organization. We started with the focus of foundation year fundamental motor skills and came up with an idea of traditional Chinese Kung Fu activity, 5 animal movement. The idea itself was creative and engaging, but the movement skills involved were very complicated and hard to be sequenced to teach in a prep class. We spent around 1 week to revisit Victorian curriculum and analyze the content descriptor of movement, as well as the thorough research on the Chinese 5 animal movement, to try to adapt this idea into the Australian school setting, the year level, and fit it logically into the 10 lessons. Per our research and analysis, we narrowed the 20 skills in 5 animal movement into 4 key skills: running, jumping, throwing, and catching. Then, how to design and sequence the teaching of these 4 skills was another challenge. Based on our knowledge and experience, prep kids need some inspiration and motivation to engage in HPE learning. We simplified the story of Kung Fu Panda and created an Kung Fu Warrior invitation to introduce the reason why we are learning these 4 skills. We decided to design the learning sequence as training, mission format, and each 2 or 3 lessons we focus on 1 skill. This is in order to allow enough time to introduce, practice, consolidate new skills, and also allow us to assess the students' learning. And each lesson contains warm-up game, explicit teaching, practice game, and wrap-up sharing circle and emotion wall. We also make the teaching episodes cumulative by including the skills already taught into the activities of new training and mission sessions. In conclusion, this unit plan assignment gave us a great opportunity to develop our skills of organizing content into an effective learning and teaching sequence. We can use the skills in our future practice for any subject teaching.